As Bangladesh's February 12th elections are approaching, former Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has sharply criticized the interim government led by Chief Advisor Prof Muhammad Yunus of being unconstitutional and has demanded Yunus step down, arguing that the election process lacks credibility and inclusiveness. The interim government is now on its last legs as political campaign for the national elections has kicked off. But the exiled Awami League, now sitting out in these elections after its overthrow, is accusing the interim administration of overstaying its mandate, amending laws without parliamentary authority, and conducting a sham election. In an exclusive conversation with The Week, Shafiqul Alam, press secretary to Professor Yunus, says the administration's sole mandate is to restore democratic credibility after years of manipulated polls. In turn, he accuses the Awami League of eroding electoral institutions while in power, citing past elections where state machinery was allegedly used to predetermine outcomes. With much curiosity about Professor Yunus's future once the elected government takes over, Alam tells The Week that Professor Yunus has no political ambitions beyond overseeing a transition to an elected government and will return to his work on social business and microfinancing once the process is complete. Alam himself has plans to return to journalism after the transition, describing his role as a temporary public service. The immediate priority of the interim government, he says, is law and order, ensuring there is no rigging and people's participation is maximum. In recent months, minority killings, attack on media houses and cultural institutions have created a sense of fear of its negative impact on the election process and voter turnout. According to Alam, extensive safeguards, including neutral officials, digital monitoring, and enhanced security have been put in place to ensure the elections can be free, fair, and peaceful. Let us hear from Shafiqul Alam, the man who is in the hot seat this election season.
Are there concerns of rigging, possible rigging taking
No,
place?
there is no chances for a no way. We made sure that all the infrastructures are put in place to hold a free, fair, peaceful, and festive elections. We like selected people like security officials and also non-security like civil administration officials. We selected as most the people who are neutral, who don't have any political connections, and we posted like interim government posted them in all the election duties. So we think that they are like these people, they are capable of holding an election free to make sure that the election is free and fair. And the historically Bangladesh in the country like only the uh, political government rigged election because it wanted to extend its power. When it loses popularity, it feel like okay, let's rig election and hang on. That's what Hadi Hasina did. And how it did it? It did it by employing its own people in some of the key positions, so that when these people hold the election duties, these people then rig the election on behalf of the government. Like in 2018, like police played a big role in stuffing ballots for Hasina in midnight. So before you could come in the morning to cast vote, you see that your vote has already been cast. So there is no chance for that. We selected people who are neutral. We selected people who knows how to conduct these elections, and then we massive training program for some 900,000 security officials and also now hundreds of thousands of civil administration officials. And we are quite sure that they can hold a very good election. And also all the measures have been taken. We are setting up CCTVs on all each of these voting center, and then there will be security in the vulnerable as voting center will have a security man with body on cameras. So wherever they will act like a mobile camera. So wherever they go, they can see. So that at the moment, and then these whole voting centers and then are connected with the app. So anywhere anything goes wrong, you can know it promptly and then intervene. So we hope election will be free and fair. And there are already signs, and also the election political parties also know that they need a good elections. This country needs a good elections.
So while you say political parties are of course excited and there is this festive atmosphere,
Yes.
within people there is a sense of loss of faith in the political system, of course, over years. It is now translating, do you think, on the ground of people may not turn up and vote, or they've lost the faith in the political system
No,
itself
no,
to
I don't think
participate?
they lost faith in Hasina's the kind of system that Hasina built. But I think once they see that we are holding a free and fair election, they will turn up in a high number. And we think that it will be a festive election during when it was held free and fair. It was like a mela in India, mela. It's like a fair that where everybody goes. They bring their whole families there, and so the voting, the people with the voting ages, they vote, and the rest they stay outside of the voting center and they hang out throughout the day. We feel like it's going to be, it's the start of a new era, steps of a new journey for this country, and we are sure that they are going to participate in a big number.
We are also seeing concerns of political violence taking place, also violence on the streets. Across the political spectrum, there is a certain acceptance that there is some kind of a break.
You see the numbers of crimes or the political violence. I think it's historically very low than what we have seen in the past. Like during the nomination submission process, there was not a single violence. There was not a single act of violence. It went off very peacefully. So previously, what would happen? Like if we see that you are going to file nomination, I would make sure you cannot go to the voting to the returning officer's office. Uh, I would make sure that you cannot reach that place to submit. It hasn't happened. It went off very peacefully. I think there is a massive change in thinking that this old tactics won't work anymore. So election political parties have learned something. What they have learned from the I think July revolution is that you have to win hearts and minds through your work, through whatever ideas you have, through how you want to govern the country. The era of muscle man, era of like your uh, 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 what I say, your like your thuggish supporters would do the rest for you. It won't work. I think people have learned, everyone, and that's why there is a qualitative changes in the way that people the political leaders are seeking votes. They're going uh, home to home, try to be with them, talk to them, meeting them in close like family gatherings. These are the issues, and also a lot of campaign through TikTok, through reels, through Facebook and social media. Lot of. There is a massive changes.
And there is a lot of demand now for justice for Hadi by political parties and young student leaders.
Yes,
Where has it progressed?
took it quite seriously, very seriously, and he has ordered all the security forces and the police and also intelligence agencies to investigate it. And they did a very good job. I think they quickly find out who are the people who are involved in the who are the main suspects and what happened to them. They have like already filed a charge sheet naming 17 people, naming the mastermind behind the killing, naming the killers, main suspects. So we hope law is going to take its own course. It will be this case will be fast tracked, and as you know, the main killers, the main suspect have fled the country. But once the charge sheet is placed and the trials happen, I think there will be more pressure, but there will be more calls to bring them back. And put them and make sure that they face the justice.
There is fear about security, safety of minorities in Bangladesh. Number of incidents also have happened in the recent days and months. Do you think minorities do face a real threat from certain extremist elements who have possibly found a voice, or mischief mongers who are disturbing the law and order situation?
I don't think so. Like it's a common. I think that the minority face some. It's like these threats are vastly exaggerated. There are some of it are politically motivated. You can see, and people who have like a special agenda, they are just trying to highlight these cases. Obviously, in Bangladesh, a lot of people get killed every year, and that includes minorities. And so, some of this law and order situation, law and order, like if someone is killed in an incident of banditry or killed in a land dispute, some people are trying to, some groups are trying to even show that okay, if he happens to be a member of a minority faith group, they are trying to show that he killed in a hate crime, but that's not the case. Obviously, there are one or two cases like the brutal death of murder of Dipu Chandra Das. It's a, like it's a we strongly condemn it. We arrested all the people who were involved quickly, and they are being the case is being fast tracked so that these people are tried very quickly. But other cases, most of the other cases in the case, the recent cases of member of minority being killed, like these are all like a regular law and order case, like a murder. Someone was murdered in a case of mm, extortion, in a snatching incident, or someone is murdered into land dispute, other dispute. These things happen. It's in Bangladesh like 4,000 people are some 3,500 people are killed every year. That's the standard study. If you take the statistics from police, it's there. So that includes also minority faith. So we don't undermine that any violence here. We will be happy if not a single people are killed in Bangladesh, not a single one. We want to make it like in Scandinavian nation where very rare crime. But that's not the place it is. Some people, there are obviously some law and order situation, and obviously there are also some hate crimes. We don't have, deny that these things also happen, but you have to see whether the government is sitting reluctantly and doing nothing. We are very proactive. We are making sure people who do these things are uh, brought to justice as quickly as possible, and we have done that. We have done that, and we also make sure that our minority brothers and sisters can hold their annual celebration as peacefully as a majority people of a majority faith can do. And that's what happened. Like if you talk to the minority group, like how their major festivals went off this year, like Durga Puja, Saraswati Puja, then Janmashtami, all these pujas. You go and talk to them. And I would ask you to go and visit all the people that the minority members of the minority faith who were killed this year. Just go and visit their places. Ask them whether this was related to hate crime or something else. We need honest journalism here, honest human rights reporting. But some people are trying to just take a one or two figures and try to amplify it, and it doesn't help. It's not helping anyone's cause. Anyone's cause. We want truth to come out, and everyone knows what is happening here. But what happening is that some group are making politically motivated reports, and it is being circulated all over the world. But that's not the place Bangladesh is.
And the assault we saw on media houses, the kind of violence we have seen, you being a journalist yourself,
Yes.
what would you say to the attacks on freedom of expression?
No, no, this is we strongly condemn it. We even say that we are deeply sorry we couldn't prevent it. But the people who are behind the attacks, who we took photos of these guys who were involved in this attack, and like dozens of people have already been arrested, and they are being brought to justice. This is a very, very, I would say, we condemned it. It's an assault on freedom of peace, I agree. So these are the two most important media in the country. So one, when you go and attack these people and set these places on fire, it sends a very disturbing signal to the journalist community. We would make sure that it doesn't happen. There were also attempts to attack these places. Those time we made sure that they couldn't come near the place, but it happened. But this latest incident happened as close to midnight, and also police said that they were busy protecting the all the Indian establishment, the Indian embassy, and because they are also threat to attack those places.
But what do the initial reports say, if I may ask? Being the liberal media houses mainstream for many years, why were they targeted and how were they chosen? What kind of analysis is coming out as far as initial investigation?
I don't want to elaborate on that. You better ask them why they were targeted. But no one should target a newspaper. There should be zero tolerance for that. No way. You cannot touch. You can criticize. You can criticize me. You can criticize the week, or you can criticize any newspaper. And that's a standard place. But can you attack? You can't. That's a borderline. You cannot cross. You have seen in the West, like there are a lot of criticism of BBC, a lot of criticism of New York Times, because the way they represent a report, some people may say, okay, it doesn't carry the truth. It may say, but here there is no way a newspaper or a media outlet should be attacked. No way. I think we are trying. We have stepped up security after the incidents. Hope the next few weeks things would go peacefully, and then once a political government comes, they can take it forward.
So, other than the parliamentary elections, a lot of focus is also on who would be the next president. There is a lot of interest in knowing what will Professor Yunus be doing once the elected government comes in place. Are there any plans, and are people really asking Professor Yunus to
No,
take a role?
I think in several meetings with foreign diplomats, in meetings, he has made it quite clear that he wants to return to his old job. His job was he talks, he travels across the country, he sets up social businesses. He has set up quite a lot of social businesses. He is targeting some social issues, mostly to combat poverty, make sure people get proper health care, this kind of things. He would be doing these kind of jobs, promoting social businesses across the world, promoting microfinance, and obviously promoting the 3.0 vision that he talks about. He has been talking about a lot over the last few years. The zero carbon emission, zero unemployment, and zero poverty.
So, other than parliamentary elections, there is also a lot of interest in the constitutional reform. Do you think the elected government will be able to take forward that process?
I think so, because the hunger for change is coming from not from these governments, from the people. These reforms are actually reflections of what the people actually want. They don't want to see the repeat of the Hasina years. They don't want to see consolidation of power in a one hand. They don't want to see another autocracy, another misrule. So these whole reforms are designed in a way to make sure that there is a proper check and balances in the power corridors, so that people can get good governance, so that people see that their governments are accountable, their governments are transparent, and so that people can see there is freedom of press here, there is everything like that makes a democracy functional. That's what it's all about. And this is not that we are promoting this agenda. It's coming from the people, from the revolutionists, from the July activists. Like there are millions of July activists. There are those who campaigned, those who took part in the protest in all the campuses. I'm not talking about like one university or two universities. Hundreds of universities, hundreds of like it was schools of medical colleges, schools of technical and engineering universities, and thousands of school colleges, say madrasas. And these reforms are coming from them. They are trying to say that, okay, we want this. We don't want to see that our governments kill our people, our governments rob our rights. They don't want to see those days.
Personally, I would like to ask one last question. What are your future plans? Being a journalist, you've really been in the center of this entire transition and change.
Yes.
Both India and Bangladesh, a lot of eyes were on you.
Yes.
How challenging was it?
It's
What were the lessons and what do you plan to do now?
And then our main challenge was that there was actually no press office previously. If you see the press job, the press secretary of Hasina, there was a guy who was a respected journalist, his son Korean. Like he was a press secretary for Hasina for 6 years, so he didn't do a single press conference. He'd come to his place. He was a very heavy drinker. He would drink. And there was no. It's previously this job was done by political people. It's all about politically you makes this statement. Sometimes even head of the police would make political noises, police or security forces in instrument. So what Professor Yunus did is he wanted to see a proper press office here with a proper press guy leading it. So he brought me and I brought a lot of journalists who have experience in working with foreign news outlet, some of the people who work for like American or the top global news agencies. So we try to be focus on the job of this, what the job of this interim government, what it is actually doing. And every day, Professor Yunus wanted to be as transparent as possible. People he's meeting every day, the kind of talks he has, we wanted to know that their leader is doing this, their leader is performing his job this way. And if there is any accusation, any misgivings, any doubt about anybody, any concern, we would obviously send press releases and try to explain things. What is the or if there is a question about some of our work, some of our decision, and we would obviously explain that this is the reason why this decision was taken, why. And that's, I think it's, and also you have to see there is an extraordinary time. Bangladesh never had this kind of government. Bangladesh had like caretaker government, but their duration was 3 months. And then there was another, this similar government was in 2007 and 8, but that was more of a military government. So they would do their jobs through the power of a rifle. You know that when you have a rifle, you a lot of things gets easier for you. Here is a pure civilian government led by a group of academic, group of former bureaucrats, former retired military officers, retired diplomats, and human rights activists. So we try to tell the people what these people are doing every day. And since some of these uh, people were busy with our job was to just tell people this what this government is doing, and it's a eventually it became a 24/7 job. I don't know whether we have done good or bad. Sometimes maybe some people didn't like some of the comments that we made, but that's quite obvious, isn't it? We are not here to make people that we you love me. Some of the issues that we have to forcefully tell that this is what we are here. I know a lot of people didn't maybe like it, but we try to do our job well. We try to hold press conference every week, several times a week. We were any issues that arose, we would always have our explanation, and also our phones are always open. Numbers are there. I think everybody in the country knows my phone number. They can always call me. We are always ready to respond to their queries. And I obviously, after this just I want to go back to journalism. I think my knowledge about what a government actually does was never complete. I had a very fairy tale views of what a government, and I was almost like an activist when I was journalist. But when I came to a jobs, I really now could find out about the kind of limitations a government faces sometimes. Because when I see from a eyes of an activist, I only see its failures. Why it failed? Why didn't it do this way? But here it's about from. But when I am in a government, I can see that a government has to think at least 100 ways before making a decision. And it's a very and in a country with limited resources, with limited revenue, and to some extent dependent on foreign aid, and also in a country which has to do it's vastly dependent on foreign trade. You have to think about what your foreign partners are thinking. This is a tough job, unbelievably tough jobs for it. And not many Bangladeshi, not even some of the top academics or top critics, they don't want to understand what went into the thinking of the government when it took this decision. They don't understand it. But now I would like sober myself.
Less activist and you understand.
I would be no more an activist. Maybe if there is a massive failure, but I would, if there is a good government, I would be happy to give it the benefit of doubt. That is my position now. But I have seen, and I knew Professor Yunus from afar. Now, because he invited me to take up this job, I was never never worked with him before, and I worked with him, and honestly, it was I feel proud that I had this opportunity. He is an amazing person, amazing person. He only work, and always he thinks that there is if it this A doesn't work, obviously B will. If B doesn't work, C will. He never gives up.